guys, Stephanie Shevelkin here from Shevelkin Designs, and today I am going to go over part 3 of my granny square sweater, and I'm going to explain to you how I block the pieces, all 4 of them, what I use to block them, what tools I use, and why I block them the way that I do. So grab your 4 pieces and let's get started. Now keep in mind, you don't have to block the way that I block if you do choose to block. You do not need to use a steamer, because I do use a steamer. You are always able to dunk them in water, like soak them in water, and then pat them dry with a towel and then block them. I just prefer to use a steamer because it works for me and it's quicker. So okay guys, let's get to it. Thanks. So here are my 4 completed granny squares, and unblocked, they're measuring about 22 inches by 22 inches. So what I wanted to show you is, let's just take one of them and go over what I was talking about with sizing. Now, I make my all 4 exactly the same, okay? So they're 4 identical granny squares, whatever by whatever. And this one I'm doing the 22 by 22, which will be larger once I block. Maybe 24 by 24, but we will see. Anyway, what I was talking about when doing your sizing, now let's say that you want your length or width different, and how to accomplish that is, let's say we are going to do it to the white. And we like it at that size. But say that this is the size that you want your granny square. This is your head, this is the bottom, okay? And this is the length that you want it to be, right? But you want it to be wider. Then all you would do is add on your rows to the side. Okay, you would add on however many rows to the sides that you would want to get the width that you want, okay? Now, let's go back and say, oh, I like the width, but I want a different length. Then what you would do is, if you're going by the white, and this gives you your width that you like, but you want it to be longer, then you would just add on to the bottom. Okay? Now, if you want it to be shorter, then you would have to go back to doing it the first way I explained. So say you want it to be shorter, then I would do the whole square. Like say you want it to only be like to the pomegranate color, then you would do the whole square to the pomegranate color, right? Because that's the length that you want, but you want the width to be a different length. So then you would, from doing the pomegranate, right, then you would just add on to the sides your width. Okay, so I hope that better explains like the different way you can get the different sizing. Like, and that's what's so great about this pattern, is that you can make it how you want it. It doesn't have to be a perfect square. If you want it to be more cropped, then make your square smaller and add on to the sides. If you want it to be more narrow, so longer but slimmer, then get it to the width that you want and extend the length. I hope that makes sense. Let me know in the comments if that does not make sense. But I'm a visual person, so I thought like doing and folding it like that might be more visual and helpful for you. So hopefully that is a little bit more clarification in sizing. But okay, so let's get and start blocking these suckers up. Okay. So this is going to be so much fun because we are working on the floor tonight. The kids are in bed. We have the floor to ourselves. So these are my foam pads. You don't have to have the ones with the squares. They're just convenient because each one is an inch. But I mean, I used to use my kids' play mat too. So whatever works best. For you, I have to grab a couple more because this is not going to be big enough. Now, something that I was researching and found out, I don't know how true it is, but it makes sense, is that when blocking acrylic yarn, because it's a plastic base yarn, not natural fiber, that when you steam it, which is using hot water steamed, it will, and then you block it, it keeps the shape. Because essentially, if you think about it, you're basically just heating up plastic, forming it to the shape that you want, and then it cools. So when you're blocking acrylic yarn, supposedly it's not going to unshape and shrink back down. I don't know how true that is, but it makes sense, and it makes sense to me. So let's go ahead, now that I have my whole thing blocked out, let's make sure we're in camera here. Scooch you down a little bit. Again, I'm sorry, I am working on the floor, so this is, like I said, going to be a fun, literal exercise. Make sure you have good hips. Otherwise, do it on a table, a very large table. The pins that I have, I purchased some of these guys, and supposedly they're the longer ones. They looked a lot longer on Amazon, but these are the ones I got. And I'm going to try these today. And then I also have these guys. And these ones I've used many times. I have my long ones and my short ones, and these will work wonderful. But because it's such a pain in the butt pulling out every single one individually, I thought I would give these guys a try. Now, my only issue with using these is how thick the 4 granny squares will be stacked. I'm not exactly sure these guys are going to work as well as these guys have. So this will be a fun experiment once again to see if I like these or if I prefer to go the way that I have been going with my longer individual pins. So, and then there was also an issue, and I did notice it on a few of them, where some of these guys were catching. Some of the little pokey needle parts were a little not exactly straight or the best, so they were catching. So you just have to be careful. First thing that I'm going to do is mark out 24 by 24, because that's how big I want to stretch this to, just so I have that marked down for me easily. So if we do right here, this corner, then we're going to want 24 from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And while I'm doing this, I already have my steamer turned on, and it is going, heating up. So now we want 24 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's my midpoint. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And I marked my midpoint. So now my steamer is warm. And this is what I have. I just found one off Amazon that had good reviews and doesn't drip. So it's a really big one, holds a ton of water, and it's really, I love this sucker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the steam going. I'm going to hold this up, or I can even keep it down. Doesn't oops, careful not to get caught. We'll just keep it down so I can show you. And then I'll flip it over and do the other side too. And just go over it lightly. Get the whole thing steamed. Usually I hold it up when I do it because, you know, steam rises, so I want to make sure it gets it. And then I try to work relatively quick with pinning it, but I'm continuously steaming, warming it up as I'm doing it. So I'll show you what I mean. And the reason why I do it now before I have the edging done is so that it gives me a better size and has the end size that I want for the edging. So now that I've steamed that, I flip it back to the way that I want it and I can start pinning. And the way that I do that is I just go to the corner, take this out, put it in. And then I go to the opposite. And I guess that is from my art years and stretching canvases. I always just go across. So if I do this corner, then I'm gonna go across and do this corner. If I do over here, I'm gonna go over here next. So I wanna make sure that I'm centered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now it looks a little funky right now, but we're gonna get all the other pins in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it'll even out, okay? So, I guess we can try these guys now. While I'm doing this, I'm gonna do another steam because it's cooled. So now I'm just gonna continue going between steaming and pinning. As you can see, I am going across from each other, and this helps to evenly disperse the pulling and making it even. And as I feel that it's cooling, I go ahead and give it another steam. So I am gonna fast forward so you can see the process, and I will meet you at the end of doing this first one. Okay, so I got the first one done, and I put one in the middle just to make sure it's all centered. And now what I'm going to do is start doing them individually, and I'm going to steam and place on tops and just continue doing that until I have all 4 done. We'll see how it goes with these guys. I'm interested to see. It should be a lot quicker instead of doing the individual pins. And then once I get all of them down, I'll put a lot more in just to secure all the way around because I'm OCD like that and I like to have tons of pins. and make sure that everything, all the holes are lined up, everything's all lined up. So I'll go ahead and speed through that and see you at the end. Okay, great. Yay, we're getting places. Okay, so we're on our last one, and I had to refill my steamer, which is another reason why I love this steamer as much as I do, because it literally holds so much water. Okay, so what I realized is that like half these pin packs are longer and some of them are shorter. So that was silliness on my part. I totally did not realize that they were half and half. But so far I am loving how they're working, because it's so much faster than doing individual pins all the way around. So yay, they're working. I totally recommend them. And only like 1 or 2 were a little pulling. So I am thoroughly enjoying the combs. So, okay, let's do this last one and I will check back in with you when we're all done. And there we have it, you guys. It is all pinned. You can see the pin combs. I have a few of the other pins right there. And it's all even. Everything matches up, all the holes, everything's all good. And we got our 24 inches, so square. So there we go. Okay, so that is how I block the 4 granny squares. Now I'm going to let them dry overnight, and tomorrow I can lay them all out and start seaming them together. And that'll be part 4. So once I seam them together, then I work on the ribbing, and that is why I block before I do the ribbing. So that way the sweater is sewn together or seamed together, and the ribbing is all the size and shape that the end result will be. That way I don't do the ribbing before I block, and for some reason then the ribbing might be too tight. So I do the ribbing after I block and seam the pieces together. Afterwards, I will go back and I will steam the ribbing, just like how you saw, but I won't pin the entire sweater all down crazy. I'll just pin maybe like the ribbing on the edges of the piece. But I can go ahead and show you how to do that all in the next video. So I hope this video was helpful. Let me know in the comments, and I will start seaming and doing the ribbing tomorrow. We'll see how far I can get. So I'm super excited to see your guys' results. And if you're making one, please make sure to hashtag Shevelkin Designs and tag me in it, so that way I can see it, and I would just love to see them. So, okay guys, thank you so much for doing this with me and checking out how I have so much fun blocking on the floor. So thanks guys, bye.